Because that's not America.
Do you speak when they tell you?
Oh, yes, always.
When they're waterboarding you,
when
you
they
will.
tell you. Because that's not America. All right. Well, we have some real Americans here, people that, still have some red blood in their veins and are actually doing something to fight the tyranny of the government. And we're fighting with these ladies. They're fighting it locally because guess what, folks? If you think you can just concentrate on Washington, D.C. as the cesspool that it is and think that Louisiana is okay, what we're learning here today is that basically your legislators don't want to hear from you. They want to delegate everything to private-public partnerships. But Miss Karen Champagne and Angela Alef, our guests that we're very honored to have today, have made some real headway, and they have a group called the People LLC. And how would people get in touch with you all if they're interested in joining your group? Is there a website?
We do have a website, thepeoplellc.com.
Okay. So thepeoplellc.com. Now, when we went to break, Angela Alef was telling us a story about a school that she owns for 30 years in St. Bernard Parish and her encounter with the state. Go take it away, Angela.
Well, a very nice lady visited me to tell me that I should have had my students' immunization records in the universal database.
And what is that?
It's called LINKS, Louisiana Immunization Network for Kids Statewide. And if you look at immunization records, many of them have, at the top it says universal, and it means universal. And so if your child's record is in there, you have no real guarantee of privacy for your child. And right now it's immunization, but the plans are that it includes all of their information. And so even within your school, the parents are not guaranteed privacy among the staff. So with this database. Now, the way the law reads is that if you maintain your children's records on a computerized system, then you must, and this is the law, you must participate in the LINK system.
So the trick then for a school that wishes to actually respect children's privacy and their parents' privacy is not to have a computerized database with regard to immunizations or anything else.
Right. And since I take no government funds, we have no computers.
Good for you.
So I kept saying, well, I read the law, looked at all your regs. I don't have to do this. And not only that, but while I was looking at it, your website, your documentation that you hand out to doctors and to parents and to schools says that they have to participate and they cannot take their children out. But the law says that parents have the right to refuse for their children's immunization records to be included in this database. And even once they're included, they always have the right to withdraw their information.
And they forgot to mention that. Fancy that.
Mm-hmm. Well, more than that, they actually said the opposite.
Yeah, they lied.
And they said they were telling all the schools that they had to participate. And, now they say I'm the only school because we had to use peer pressure when all else failed. So I'm the only school in the whole state that's not participating. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I would guess there's more schools than just mine that maybe aren't maintaining their records on a computer that probably didn't look at the law and just assumed that they had to comply.
All right. And if so, let's say you're a school and you have the grades on a central computer. Does that open you up to the challenge that you should also have immunizations, or is it strictly?
I think so, because their big thing was, wanting to look around the school to see, they thought I was lying that I didn't have a computer there. And not only didn't have a computer, they couldn't even pick up a signal. I said, well, go. She said, well, we can do it right here. I have my computer. I said, well, go ahead and see if you can get a signal. And they couldn't. And
that's
awesome.
So, we worked with Representative John Labruzzo at that time, and he was very concerned about this and was a great guy to work with. And so he submitted an AG opinion, which we wrote up, and he submitted it. And it got lost many times. And we waited it out, finally just gave up because, there's Agenda 21 and stuff to look at. And lo and behold, just 2 weeks ago, the AG opinion came down and it read as if they copied and pasted exactly what I had sent in.
Well, I would love for you to send that and we will post it on our website so anybody that's interested can see this. An AG opinion is an attorney general's opinion which you can rely on because it's from the highest legal officer in the state interpreting the law. So it interpreted the law the way you read it because that's what the law says, which is if your school does not have computerized records, they may not maintain. I mean, they do not have to maintain these centralized medical records. And by the way, I think it's absurd anyway. is the basis for forcing schools that use computers to maintain your child's medical records for access to all. Is the basis a law in Louisiana or a federal law?
It's a Louisiana law.
So that needs to be repealed.
Yeah, Texas is fighting it very much also.
So the
We need to
parents out
repeal
there,
it.
unless you want perverts to have access to your children's medical records, and you may not value your own privacy, but if you don't, do something about this, then, Katie bar the door, because it goes from immunizations to medical records to every private thing about your child for any bureaucrat with a half brain to look at. It's disgusting.
And as I mentioned once in a while on this show, where in the United States Constitution, we do not have an explicit right to privacy. In Louisiana, we do.
Yes, we do.
But they don't care about that.
Well,
And as
we
you
don't
mentioned
have to
earlier,
search the penumbras here.
Right.
Actually
Well,
have it.
and you said something very important earlier in the show that sometimes we forget to bring up, because we do discuss tyranny on the show a lot, usually at the federal level or even the world level. But it exists at the local level as well.
Right.
And we see it's right in our faces.
Oh, very much.
The idea, and then I'd like to bring up something we talked about on the break with Karen Champagne, also a member of the People LLC. You can check out their website at thepeoplellc.com. Folks, these people are doing great work. Anyway, we were talking on the break. I asked you, what about homeschooling? Isn't this yet another reason that parents should consider homeschooling, to keep their kids out of the little government schools, so that they're not being trained to be obedient slaves to the state? And you told me that you think homeschooling is in trouble.
I do. Well, it's my opinion right now, and we're actually looking to see what's happening in other states that are going before us. But once this education reform package is passed, the
Jindal's baby.
Right, the virtual academies, which is the online schooling, will become an accepted form of schooling, so that'll be accessible now to the homeschool parents. My fear is that they'll require the homeschool parents now to utilize that, because that'll be based on the Common Core standards, which is based on the national standards, which we get from UNESCO.
And that's Agenda 21, right?
Right.
So basically, the state of Louisiana, Bobby
Sustainable
Jindal
education.
standing up talking about, oh, yes, he wants to lead a reform movement for Louisiana, and he's couched his opposition as being only union teachers. It's not true. There's a lot of concerned parents that don't appreciate having a United Nations core curriculum shoved into their school, and Jindal got money to do it, right? Didn't he get money to do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that, too, though, is that they're saying that they're anti-union and they're busting up the unions, but what they're actually doing is bringing in a new union, which is going to be Teach for America, which is part of
Communist,
AmeriCorps.
basically, yeah.
Well, it's part of Obama's AmeriCorps
I know.
and the volunteer army that we're also fond of. And
Yes, we
so
play that clip a lot.
Actually, our state, and they've actually got a request for funding in this year as well for $5 million.
Who does?
Teach for America from Louisiana.
That's every year.
And
So they're asking for $5 million. Teach for America in Louisiana is asking for $5 million.
Oh, and they'll
Right.
get it.
From who?
from the state,
From our state.
from the non-governmental organization request for funding.
They also get funding
Tom,
from
let's
the
form
different
one.
agencies.
The Baldy and the Blonde request
Yes.
for funding.
We'll probably get like gazillions of dollars.
I'm sure we'll have
They'll
a-
never check up on
I'm
us.
sure it's Janet Napolitano at the door with her weekly visit. Hello, comrades. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, so Teach for America, which really, they are so anti-U.S., basically. I'm sorry, but that group shouldn't be getting any money from anybody, much less our state, which is broke.
Right.
It's incredible. Maybe we could do a little bit more on the other side, because this is pretty interesting
Can you
stuff.
ladies hang around?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is Baldy and the Blind. I'm Michelle Godin, along with Tom Coates. We're here every Wednesday from 5 to 6. I am also a lawyer. If you need a lawyer, check out my website at michellegodin.com, because I am the sponsor of the show. I am a litigator. I am not afraid. Check out my website. Also, you check out baldyandtheblonde.com, where we have an education waiting for you if you are new to the show on such topics as Agenda 21. Today, we can add that to our ranks. And lots and lots and lots of things the federal government is doing to take away your rights that you may not be aware of if all you listen to is the mainstream media. We will be back after the break. More on how the state legislature ain't yours. Did you know that